What's up? GERO 200, how are you? February 2nd, 2020. It's Super Bowl Sunday, right? Um, and I'm here with your co-instructor, and that's Julia Walsh. And she is actually getting an infusion, as you can see there, okay? This is all part of the program. We're going to be talking later on about cancer. And Julia is a cancer survivor, and in the process, she still gets treatment where she gets antibodies infused and these antibodies are really important. It's whatever's going around, and she's getting your antibodies. If you gave blood, there's a good chance that your antibodies are going into Julie right now. She can say thank you, I guess.
Thank you if you give blood.
If you give,
Thank you very much.
that's right. So anyway, so this week we're going to talk about a little biology here, and we're going to be launching right into this section of the course. Okay, and we scroll down here into, let's see here, the theories of aging. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed the analysis of your generations and the really horrible housing market that we're handing off to you, okay? And that was the kind of a little bit of a wake-up call for you guys, okay? So this week we begin with kind of basic theories of aging, and I'm going to go ahead and open the PDF file and sort of tell you straight up, do not get caught up in the details. You guys are not biologists. I want you to read this for fun. Read it quickly, okay? And then just whatever um, you know theories that impact you most, you just kind of think about it. We're talking in this class about chronic, non-communicable diseases. Anybody think of a communicable disease that's kind of hot right now? All right. A hot communicable disease right now is the coronavirus. Okay, and we had a scare that was not real. And what's the name of the housing facility?
The Lorenzo
The
apartments.
Lorenzo Apartments. I wonder if that guy still has his job. Anyway, but that's a communicable disease, and diseases of aging, like cancer, like heart disease, like diabetes, like Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's. These are very long-term, okay, chronic diseases of aging that dramatically, in fact, affect the pocketbook of you and your family members over a very long period of time. And it's a big social phenomenon. So, anyways, so this gives you, I talk about those kinds of diseases because the basic biology of aging is underlies all of them. So you kind of look into this, and um, and so they talk about theories of aging, okay, in here, um, and you're going to see, references to what we can do to maybe thwart the aging process. We see here, oops, sorry, calorie restriction right here. So that's a big deal. And there's, a giant diet fads all over the place. Okay, the fasting mimicking diet is the one that Walter Longo from our program has been promoting. Even Gwyneth Paltrow was doing it the other day. Okay, the reason for doing that is it reduces a lot of the signs of aging that we're going to talk about here. Things like um, when you have large levels of glucose in your blood, you get these what are called glycosylated end products or advanced glycation end products. It's a real problem that promotes aging and disease in diabetics because diabetics have really high blood sugar that does not get put away. Okay, um, so um, this will get into then some basic theories, cross-linking. So if you have lots of blood sugar or you have lots of oxidative damage, you're going to hear about that. Um, then proteins that are normally free floating to do their own thing, they get cross-linked and then they don't work anymore. Okay, and then your organ is not working anymore, like your heart or your kidney or something like that. So this is a big problem in aging. Okay. Um, there's kind of this evolutionary theory that we're just put out here to reproduce, and everything else is just gravy. Okay, so realistically, I think in this week's discussion, I said you guys are all in your 20s, and if you haven't had 4 or 5 kids yet, well, then you're behind the 8 ball in terms of what evolution was, right? Right. All righty. Um, so, so you're only really supposed to live long enough to make sure that your kids survive, and then you're out of here, okay? And so a lot of the things that make you really, really successful in terms of being able to reproduce come back, and can be a problem in terms of aging, and that's this antagonistic pleiotropy. Things that are good for you now to reproduce later on can cause problems. Okay, um, and this is true over and over and over again in lots of different things. We're gonna, when you have a lot of nutrition, you can get big fast and you can kick everybody's butt and make sure that you reproduce. Okay, but all that nutrition comes back when you're in your 40s and 50s to increase this IGF-1 that increases diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. Okay, so and this is our nurse, right? She is on there. She says no. She said hi. Okay. She has to do my blood pressure. Okay. Julie's going to get her blood pressure done here, and we're going to keep going here. Okay. And I forgot, what was your name again? Your Jen, our nurse Jen. She's awesome. Awesome, by the way. So, there's a big market for nurses. Everybody should become a nurse. We really need you, especially based on everything we're talking about in this class. Okay. All right. So there's the mitochondria. That's the powerhouse where you combine your glucose with your oxygen. And then there's a tailpipe where things kind of go wrong and you start producing free radicals. It's just like your car engine. Okay. So there's a whole free radical theory on aging. Okay. All right. When you create this damage because of these free radicals, okay, there's an issue where you don't repair your DNA. If you don't repair your DNA, you get mutations. Okay. All righty. Then we have so I just want you to just like ease through this. Then we have endocrine theory of aging. Okay. That talks about what I was talking about here. Here's this growth factor pathway that makes you big and strong when you're young, but then promotes disease when you get older. And that's why you take Balter-Longo's fasting mimicking diet to reduce IGF-1. Okay, all right. Another hormone that's important in terms of aging is cortisol, the stress hormone. So here's our oxidative damage um, concepts. Rate of living, okay, the more free radicals you produce, you're going to live a lot less longer. And we see this by comparing species. My little doggy has a heartbeat of like 200 beats per minute, okay, instead of 60 beats per minute like her, okay. Well, more beats per minute, the more free radicals. Doggy doesn't live so long, okay. And all right, so that's the whole concept of this. I just want you to kind of ease into this, okay? All right, so we're going to go back here. And again, my advice is to keep that open while you're doing the quiz. So you just have two browsers you click on here. Okay, so here's the reproduction and aging. So this is very relevant because free radicals damage and cause mutations in your DNA of your eggs and sperm. Another big part of the aging theory is there's a limit in the number of cell divisions that you can produce. It's kind of based on stem cells. Okay, so what happens to the ovaries of women as you get older?
They get older too.
They get older. Do they produce as many quality eggs?
No.
No, they don't. Okay.
And I'm going to jump in.
Okay.
So I have a passion for infertility and reproduction because we experience what a lot of couples experience. We got married, got our careers in order. I went to law school, went to a big law firm, was working a lot of hours. We finally got to the point where we decided we wanted to have kids. First pregnancy was fine. Still working a lot of hours. And then we experienced secondary infertility. So you get a little bit older. Now you're in your mid to late 30s and you decide you want to have a second child. And it's not so easy the second time around. So we also experienced what a lot of couples experience, which is that your insurance will cover the cost of diagnosing the problem, but not the cost necessarily of treating it. So if you need a higher level intervention like in vitro fertilization, that's probably not going to be covered by insurance, and it's going to cost $10,000 or $15,000 a cycle. And as I said to John at the time, we're just going to amortize that over the life of our child. So don't worry about the money, honey. And luckily, I was making good money as a lawyer at the time, so it was okay.
Yeah, you guys cost us like $1 million already.
Children are expensive, whether you pay in the front end or the back end. So we have some information in the discussion this week about infertility, how you determine your fertility by doing blood tests, et cetera. And one of the things that we're seeing a lot, especially up in Silicon Valley, is that companies are offering as a benefit to female employees the ability to freeze eggs. Sounds awesome. However, we need to be very cautious because we're also seeing stories about people who go through one cycle, freeze eggs, and then when they do decide to have children, 10 years later, 15 years later, whatever, they don't have enough eggs because it's not a perfect system. When you're dealing with assisted reproductive technology, you might freeze 20 eggs and maybe 6 of them get fertilized to become embryos, and then not all of those embryos develop to the point of being able to be implanted to become a baby. So I guess the moral of the story is um, be careful. I understand that if you delay your reproductive life, whether you're male or female, there are consequences to that. And we have included an article in there about the reproductive costs of delayed reproduction in men, because we're now seeing studies come out that say if you are an older father, it's not just the mom whose eggs might not be as high quality, the dad's sperm is not as high quality. So now we're getting into having children who might have a higher rate of issues like mental health issues and learning disabilities, et cetera, than we might expect for the normal population. So we all have a consequence when we delay fertility.
Awesome. Very cool. And we want you just to educate yourself a little bit. Again, don't get caught up in the detail, but you can go to this really cool website. It's very user friendly, and you can look, about what things like Julie was talking about, and you can see here how rapidly your fertility rate drops off. This is as a woman. It goes boom, 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 boom. All right. So we were together 12 and a half years, married 8 years before we decided, okay, it's time to have kids. And and yeah, it was a challenge. It was a challenge. I was very, how old when you had Dave? You were
39.
39 when you had Dave, and it makes me 7 years older. Was 46. Okay, so and our first one, we were 30.
Like 33, 34.
33, but that was, we were poor, so we needed to get our careers together. It is what it is, okay? Um, so that's documentation, and this is, the steps that you're going to take when you see the physician. There's different targets, and they go through it right here. They can look at the quantity of your eggs by doing this test. They can look at the quality of your system right here. This is your brain that stimulates your ovaries to produce eggs. So this is an FSH test. So, all right, so they're going to go through that. Just kind of thumb through this. Don't get caught in the details. Okay, it's really cool right here. If your FSH levels are too high, it means that your brain's trying to compensate, saying, where in the heck are the eggs? Come on, eggs. Because there's this feedback. When the eggs get released, it shuts off the brain. So when you have high FSH levels, it means your eggs are not doing so well. This is shown here for every age group here. It's better to have really low FSH levels, okay? And then when we scroll down here, it gives you more facts about FSH, using clomiphene, okay? Makes your ovaries feel like grapefruits.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Okay, because what it does is it's the clomiphene tells the brain to release the FSH. Okay, or you can directly inject the FSH. And if your ovaries are pretty good, then instead of having maybe 2 eggs cycle through, oh, big chunk of maybe 20 eggs say I'm going to go through, and this is why you get multiple pregnancies, which we didn't.
No.
Almost.
No, we were good.
Okay. Couldn't happen though. All right. So this is again reading for you, and it's very, very relevant for you guys because I think many of you guys are probably not reproducing right now. Okay. Alrighty. This is an additional slide that lists all the different medications that we're talking about. Again, very useful. You can talk to your friends about this. You should have open discussions about this. Depending on the patient, different drugs you use. You see have multiple incidents of increased multiple births, and that's common. It doesn't matter which drug we're doing because we're pushing out as many eggs as possible. Okay, alrighty. So on and on and on. So you can just kind of look through that. So that's pretty cool. All right, very cool. Then we come down here. We have a couple of videos about in vitro fertilization. That's when these drugs haven't worked. Okay, now we're going to pull your eggs, do a little kind of little tiny surgery, pull them out of your ovary, put them into a little petri dish. All right, Dad is going to come up with a sperm donation, and you're going to mix it in there, and then the eggs will grow to a 2-cell stage, a 4-cell stage, an 8-cell stage, and then they're going to pull out these embryos and put them back in to your uterus, and hopefully they'll stick. That's the big question. How do you get them to stick? And that's what this is all about. Okay. Lastly, just what Julia's talking about, me and my sperm. Okay. See that ADHD? Okay, I have profound ADHD, and the apple does not fall far from the tree, especially as I get older. So I've donated that little extra attitude to my both my boys. Okay, all right. So all worth discussing right here, guys. Very cool. Good luck with your CT1. I've sent out a video on that. Again, when you go to CT1, you're going to come back up here. Okay, and oh, sorry, I went to the midterm. All right, let me scroll to the CT1. There it is. Boom. Thank you, Julia. Okay. And just follow the directions. Okay. It's very clearly laid out what we want you to do. Okay. Just read it and follow the directions. Okay. We have a YouTube that supports this, that tells you what to do. Okay. So watch this. Okay. Follow the directions. Our rubric is pretty easy to grade. Boom, 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 right there. And if you don't follow the directions, there's a point here, a point there. All right. All right, guys. Very cool. Well, Joey says goodbye. Awesome. Right on. Oh yeah, here we go. Baby. Our basketball team still looked good last night. It was really hard. You know who looked really good though last night? Let's see here. Let's see. The band. USC band always looks good. Okay. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.